Welcome to my channel. I wanted to show you one of the Christmas in July projects that I've been working on this month. This is a loaded stocking that I created for the swap that I'm in Natasha's Scrapbook Corner and Friends Facebook group. We were to create a loaded stocking, and there were several elements to the project. And I will share each of those with you as we go along. But I'll start off with the stocking itself, which you got to choose whether you wanted to do paper or fabric. I, of course, chose paper. I'm absolutely terrible with fabric. Everybody in my family is a sewer except for me, and I can't get the hang of it. Paper's my jam, though. So I made mine out of the paper that everybody was using last year, the Santa Baby collection from Prima. I love this collection. I love non-traditional Christmas colors to play with, although I decorate my house in pretty neutral tones. The pinks and the mints are some of my favorite colors, well, palette to work with during the holiday season. And the file I used to create it is actually from Lori Whitlock. And I made this. This is a pretty big one. It measures about 8 inches at its widest point, and then another 8 inches tall, and it's about 3 inches wide. So it's a pretty big stocking. It actually fits a lot of stuff in there. But I'll start with the base of the project itself. And I just covered it with, of course, pattern paper from the collection. And I used some really pretty trim that I received from Natasha Scrapbook Corner, the store, the shop, I should say. And I had some fur trim in my stash and this lace. And it looks like two different kinds, but the lace is actually, I'll show it to you. The lace actually looks like this. It's super pretty, and it looks like bows on top, and then it's got a really pretty scalloped edge at the bottom. And I used the fur over top of that. The flowers are mainly handmade. I use fulmerin to create my handmade flowers, and it's a dye from Spellbinders. I believe it's the Spellbinders poinsettia dye. And one of my favorite tricks to do is grab some of from the floral section at Michael's, Joann's, any of those places, some of the bushes that they have at the end of the year, and I cut them up and use them as filler in a lot of like my flower clusters. This snowflake is something that I've had in my stash for a while, and I want to say it's a mini Christmas ornament for like one of the really tiny trees. And I think I might have gotten it at Dollar Tree quite some time ago. This rocking horse wood piece, I painted it, well, I dry brushed it with a little bit of white acrylic paint. I wanted to make sure a lot of the wood showed through still in it. So this is the one that I created, and I used, the jolly is cut from a pink glitter paper, and it's layered a few times with some 110-pound cardstock. And that is a Tim Holtz word die from one of his Christmas collections. I have a couple of them. I have a ridiculous Christmas stash. This flower is from the shop. And then the snowflakes are just die cut with my Sizzix as well. And this is just a handmade fulmerin flower. It's just a super tiny one. Let me see. How am I going to break this apart? Maybe I'll just take everything off camera for a sec or slide it over. So, as I was saying, there were several elements to the swap. And the first was a wand. And it had to have a dangle element or tassel. And I just did a whole bunch of trim that I had in my stash. There's some pink lace, some pom-poms, some gold and cream eyelash, and then this is some of the seam binding from the shop, as well as some mint twine. A straw is the base of it, and then I have some bead trim that I buy in bulk, and then I just wrapped the straw with the bead trim. Now, one of the cute things that I created for this, these snowflakes are a Cricut image that I cut out of felt and just layered a couple of times, and I absolutely love these. I think they're so cute. It's an idea that I did last Christmas that I plan on doing it this year. As I said before, most of the flowers that I used, I created myself with Fomarin and the poinsettia dye from Spellbinders. I just layered. This is an image from the collection, of course. This is a wood piece from the collection that I dyed with some Distress Stain, and I believed I used worn lipstick for it. There's a large glitter snowflake behind that. I believe I used my Cricut for that. And then there is a rosette behind that, and another snowflake that I hand cut, or die cut with my Cricut, I should say. And there is some eyelash trim in there as well. This is the back of it. The paper's super pretty. You really don't need to do much to it. It's standalone. It's beautiful. But the next element that we had to do, and this isn't in the stocking because it wouldn't fit, but we had to make our partner a Christmas tree. I loved making this Christmas tree. It's something that I have not done before. I used an altered spool for the bottom, and I did the same thing. I just dry brushed it in white as I did many of the wood pieces that I used in here. This trim is from the shop as well, the pink, and those are half flat beads, so it lays really nicely. I used some paper from the collection to wrap it around. I glued that nice and tight, and then I had a wooden dowel that I just used a little E6000 to really secure it to the center. Now, the body of the tree, it is felt, and I cut it out with my Cricut. This measures about 9.5 inches tall and about 4 inches wide. I started with the base in the felt, and then I cut it again with the lace. And I actually used my Cricut to cut it. Believe it or not, it cut through it like butter, and I used the Chantilly lace setting with my maker. There's no backing to it. I just used the fabric mat and the rotary tool for the maker. I'm so thrilled. It was my first time cutting lace with my maker, and I was so happy how well it turned out. And then I used some various trims. I have the pink pom-pom from my stash. This floral white trim, I think it's from the shop. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive it is. I layered, this is a crocheted white doily. You can kind of see it a little more on the back just because there's so many layering elements. And then this is a handmade flower that I created. I can't remember the YouTuber that I saw do it. Maybe Mrs. Evilly. I hope I'm saying that right. Did these flowers originally, but if you're the one who did them, thank you. It was a great tutorial. And then these pink foam flowers are from a swap that I did with Tamika over at Scrap the World. This is another one of those tiny snowflake ornaments that I glued this right on. The sentiment is from the collection, and then I die cut this small snowflake in the back. Now, the real showstopper is this cute little wreath that I made, and the wreath was actually really easy to put together. So I just used like a donut shape 110-pound cardstock for the base of it. And then I used some of, let me find it for you. I'll show you the trim that I used. Insole trim that I have. And around Christmas time, you can usually find this in a few different colors. This is old. I think I probably got it at Michael's during a Valentine's Day a few years ago. But I've been kind of hoarding it for a while. I really like it. It's a unique color that I haven't really found elsewhere. But I used that and I put it on top of, I just circled it around the cardstock base. And then I have these teeny tiny pine cones that I painted with some white. Once again, I dry brushed it really light. Mint branches are cut with this Martha Stewart punch. I use this punch all the time. You can, I can't remember, I think it's called Pine Branch, but I use it all the time for my floral clusters. It just adds a really nice finish. It's super easy to punch. You can punch multiples. It's the one bad thing about doing, like, you know, die after die after die through running it through your Sizzix. When you have a punch like this that's super detailed, you can just punch a bunch of them all at once and do something like this in about a quarter of the time. And then I just used some pearls and glued them in at various spots. But that's how I created the wreath. I absolutely love how it turned out. I think this whole tree is just a showstopper, and I'm going to be making a lot of these. I want to try them in different colors too. Something maybe a little more traditional, an all white one I would like to try. I'll give you some ideas. But moving on, another thing that we had to create was a set of bows. Now, I'm not actually going to take them out because I have them packaged really nicely inside this container, which this I cut out with my Cricut. It's just a simple pillow box. I wrapped it with some pattern paper from the stash. I glued on a doily. This is a pink one from Natasha's Scrapbooking Corner. And then I just die cut some snowflakes with glitter paper. The glitter paper is from Cricut. If you've never tried it before, try it. It cuts like butter. It's a great glitter paper, and it doesn't leave a mess everywhere. The glitter doesn't fall all over the place. I just stamped this greeting on a little stitch tag. That's a die cut too that I ran through my Sizzix. And inside, I will show you what is in there. I did these super cute felt bows. They're reindeer felt bows. I made the file for my Cricut. The ones inside don't have the clip attached. I just wanted to add the clip to the stocking. But I created the cut file in Cricut, and these are just the antlers. And I used my Cricut to cut the felt bows as well. I did these bows in pinks and white, and there's, I think, like 6 or 8 of them inside the container. I love how they turned out. Okay, the next element was you had to create 3 different envelopes, and those envelopes could be stuffed with whatever you wanted. I did not do traditional envelopes. The stuff that I wanted to send in them were thicker, so I created just this little bag topper. The mint ruffle trim is from the shop, and this is a die cut from the collection. Once again, the faux marin poinsettias that I made. This is a snowflake die. I believe it's a Tim Holtz one. And inside are some more of these little mini pine cones that I painted with white, and I actually glittered these ones as well. Now, I just collect mini pine cones from the pine trees that line my yard that are quite annoying. If you are going to do that, which I highly recommend, because why buy something that you can just get in nature? But if you are going to do that, make sure you you heat them up because there are critters inside the pine cones. And if you don't sterilize them, i.e. putting them in bleach is a great way to sterilize them. It also lightens the pine cones to a really pretty creamy white. Just throw them in a solution of 2 quarts warm water to maybe like a half a cup to a full cup of bleach. Put them in a tub and just let them sit overnight. You will have the prettiest white pine cones that you've ever seen. But if you want them more immediately, just throw them in your oven at 250 for about 3 hours. It'll sanitize them. It'll kill all the critters. You won't have them running all over your projects. But that's how you do these pine cones. They're a fun project to do too. Do them in bulk while you can. All right. So the next envelope that I created was a little mini loaded envelope. You are going to see this project again in a much bigger form because I participated in Tamika over at Scrap the World, her monthly swap for July, which was a loaded envelope swap. This is what I did on a much smaller scale for that swap. And of course, this is Christmas versus the little shabby chic design, but you'll be seeing that anyways. I'm digressing. All right, so inside the loaded envelope, I just have some images that are from the collection, of course, and then I just threw some shredded paper inside to keep them cozy in there. I used my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board to create the envelope itself, and then these strands are actually another one of the trims from the shop that I cut apart. This is what the trim looks like before I did the cutting. Super, super pretty. What's nice, I did this. I cut this trim out for all of the loaded envelopes that I did. And you still have this really pretty trim left over. I mean, you could, I was thinking about actually putting this one on the stocking, but I didn't like how far these hung down, and it didn't show off the really pretty images of the paper. So I just didn't use that. Anyways, back to my loaded envelope. All right, so this time I did pink pine cones, and I did the paint a little heavier this time. This little pretty mint rosebud here, that is from the shop. The reindeer is a wood icon. I believe I picked these up a couple years ago at Michael's. But, and once again, I used one of the mini ornaments that I believe I got at Dollar Tree. Inside some of the clusters. This is, I don't remember where I got this Christmas tree that's sitting in the back. I want to say it was a gift from a swap partner a few Christmases ago. But I have a few of these in some really pretty pastel colors. And this is actually the first time that I've used them. I love them though. And then this green mint flower is from the shop. And some more of the rosebuds. This one is in white. And of course you can see where I punched the mint paper again to fill in my cluster. Oh gosh, what else do we have in this? It feels like it's never ending. So these are just a couple pics that I popped inside there to add a little height and visual interest. And this is the third envelope. Sorry, this is some of the stuff that I had in the bottom. I made this little, it's a box, not an envelope, but I made this. This is one of my favorite images from the collection. I love this wreath. It's so pretty. It was actually the inspiration for the wreath that I created on the tree. And another one of the poinsettias, I ran this box through my Sizzix with a polka dot embossing folder, and the back is embossed as well. The mitten is a die cut from the collection, and these are just some flat pack pearls that I had hanging out. Inside you will find more of the mittens that I created. Now, this, I created a cute little banner. I mean, just adorable. I love this banner. I think it's so cute. None of this is permanent either. She can take these mittens off and use them as she pleases. The paper clips that I used to, or clothespins that I used to put them on the twine is not glued on. You could actually, I didn't glue these solidly together, so you could actually put something inside them if you wanted to, like maybe a small piece of candy or something. I don't know. But I love how this turned out. I think it's so cute. But moving forward, the last element, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so the last element is a sweets treat gift. Now, I know my swap partner is definitely more on the healthy living side, so I chose to substitute something besides like a little goodie. Normally I would send chocolate or something like that, but she also lives in Florida and chocolate is not going to ship very well around this time of year. So I created this cute little bag, and this is, I used the We Are Memory Keepers gift bag punch board to create it. The gift bag measures about 5 inches tall. It is closed with a doily, and I just paper clipped this tag that I created. There's 2 tags here actually. This one is stamped with Be Jolly, and then this is a stitch tag that I once again ran through with a polka dot embossing folder. The deer is made out of this super chunky gold glitter cardstock that I had in my stash, and then just little various elements throughout. But inside is just some hand sanitizer from Bath and Body Works. There's a couple bottles in there, and I actually made them so that they would coordinate with my project. I really like everything to coordinate, even down to the gifts. But that's it. That's my project. I loved creating this. I'm a huge Christmas girl. My absolute favorite time of the year, because I teach crafting classes, this is the beginning of Christmas season for me. I don't put away my Christmas stuff until probably January. I have to get ahead on my projects. So bear with me, you're going to be seeing a lot of Christmas projects. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Head on over to Natasha's Scrapbook Corner and check out some of her fabulous gifts inside the shop. Now, we are taking a break for the month of August, the designers, but we'll be coming back full swing in September. And I'll have some great fall projects for you at that point too. Don't worry, I don't do only Christmas in between this time period. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!